everyone, and welcome back to Alpha Art Gallery's Meet the Artist series. My name is Renee Zhang, and I'm here with Indira Cariappa, who is an exhibiting artist for the New Brunswick Art Salon Watercolor and Mixed Media exhibition. Hi, Indira. How are you
Hi,
today?
Renee. How are you today?
I'm doing great. What about you?
I'm doing good too. Yeah,
Wonderful.
yeah.
Okay. So just tell me a little bit about yourself. Like what got you interested in art and how did you pick it up?
Actually, when I think back, I think I was an artist, yeah, all along, like the my father was a very good artist, though not professionally, it was his hobby. And my mother was also, she was like a painter, and my father was more a sketcher, And the atmosphere that I grew up in, my school, a lot of important art was part of our life. Even though I didn't realize it then. I grew up, with art, all surrounded by art in my life, and yeah, that's how I think that's how I started off at a very early age. And though, when I came to my college level, I went into technology, into information sciences and technology and science. And, I did various things. And then I worked in that field for almost 11 years, 12 years. And when I came to this country, to United States, I thought back, what do I really want to do? What this is an opportunity for me to really, what I've already done a lot in the field of technology. I was teaching in a university level and all that. And then I realized that I want to dive into art. I want to immerse myself in art. That's what I always wanted to do. And that's how, that was the beginning of my conscious art journey, even though before that I was an artist. Yeah.
Yeah, it's really nice to be able to grow up around such like creative influences, and it's nice that you were able to find your way back to it as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you mentioned that you originally went to school for information science and then you kind of went back to art after a little bit.
Yeah.
What kind of was there any moment that sparked this decision for you to get back into art?
Yeah, when I grew up in India. I was born and raised in India, and I worked there for almost 15 years. And I felt I was getting too sucked into technology, and there was a missing part in me. Something in me was not being addressed. I was not getting time to do what I loved what I was doing, but there was something more which was not getting addressed. And when I moved into the United States, a new, everything was new for me, and I had a moment when I searched my soul, like, what do I really want? And I knew that this is the path. I have to explore this side of me.
Hmm. Were there any difficulties in transitioning from information science to art?
Yeah, there was, because there was the difficulty in a sense. I felt all alone all of a sudden because I didn't get into college, or I didn't get into any degree for art as such. I'm mostly a self-taught artist, and I've taken up various courses with various artists, and so it was a lonely journey. My husband was the one who encouraged me and supported me, and kept egging me on. And in the beginning years, we were traveling a lot all over USA. Like his job was a traveling job. Like we would not stay in one place for more than 2 years. So, it was very difficult for me because all the contacts that I have made, all the groups that I belong to, suddenly I get uprooted. And then again, I'm in a new place entirely where I don't know anybody and nobody knows me. And I have to start all over again. So this went on. So that was the difficult part. But I never gave up. I never gave up, and I took it as an opportunity to understand, different. I'm thrown in a different scenario, but there's still art. going on in that place. So uh, it was difficult, but then there was a silver lining in the dark cloud as well. Yeah,
Yeah, it can definitely be very scary to make such a drastic transition, but I'm
exactly.
really
And
glad
I
that you
think
stuck with it.
my husband played a major role because I didn't have to think about supporting myself financially. Otherwise, I could never have done this,
Mm,
in the initial years. So it was just, me experimenting with various media and seeing what works for me, what doesn't, and reading a lot and, all those things. Yeah.
yeah, it's really good to always have like a support system around you.
Yeah.
Um, let's talk about your art a little bit. What is your artistic process like, and how do you typically start a painting?
My artistic, I never go out looking for something to paint. What happens is I find that everyday life throws so many beautiful moments, so many beautiful things at you. And most of us, we rush through life, without actually seeing the beauty, without actually perceiving, like, this moment, this thing, this view out of the window, things like that. So I decided to take a step back and just enjoy what is right here where I am. And in that process, I discovered so many, like, I would see a tree that is glowing in the sunlight. And I would say, okay, I want to paint this. I want to capture this, the feeling. And then that would trigger off a painting. So all my paintings are something that I have seen, or a place where I have been, or an animal that I have interacted with, you know, or it's something that has touched me and has opened my eyes to the beauty of it at that moment.
Mm,
And I
yeah, it's
wanted
really
to,
nice.
yeah, I want the world to see the beauty, experience what I experienced at that time.
It's all
Yeah.
about seeing the beauty in like the daily life.
Yeah, it is more about, the beauty in the daily life and the joy, every joy I want to share.
Hmm.
Yeah.
So I guess your subject matter is very broad and you cover all different types of scenes, like animals, landscapes, figures. So you
Yeah.
said these are all from your own personal experiences and like your
Yes.
travels.
Yes. It is my life. My painting just reflects my life, you
Hmm.
know, places I've been and things I have seen, so it cannot be limited to just, landscapes, or it cannot be limited to just some florals. It's everything. It's part
Hmm.
of my life, my whole life.
Is there some place that you haven't been to yet that you want to go that you think would be very like inspiring for your art?
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. I want to go to the south of France,
Mhm.
and I want to go to Italy, and I want to go to Switzerland. These three places, I feel, I see the videos, I see the pictures, I see what other artists have gone and done there, and maybe I will, be there in another 2 years, 3 years, next year. I don't know, but these three are there in my bucket list.
Mhm. It's
Yeah,
very exciting. I hope we get to see many paintings from you of
definitely,
these places.
definitely. Yeah.
So, what specifically about your subject matter inspires you? Like, what do you hope to, I guess, convey about the
It
daily
is
scenes that you're
like,
painting?
the certain way the light is falling, or, the certain way, a feeling that evokes when it's raining, or, something that catches my breath when I see the garden in the spring, or I'm looking at the fish, the koi fish that are going round, and something, it's all an expression of joy, nothing more than that. Yeah.
I think that's really beautiful, just being able to appreciate what's around you already.
Yeah, yeah.
Mhm. Is there a favorite place that you've been that has been like very
My
inspiring for you?
yeah, my most favorite, I feel I'm so lucky that I'm living in this part of Pennsylvania, any 1 hour in any direction, either north or south or any direction I drive to, I land up in a breathtaking place. It'll either the mountains or it'll be a garden or it's so varied. That's the place where I live, and it's very difficult to choose any favorite. I think gardens are my favorite, and there's a particular garden, about very near to my place. It's called Jenkins Arboretum. I think I've done many paintings of that arboretum, and of course the Valley Forge National Park, which is just down right down the road, literally for me. So I think these two are my most favorite places because this is where I walk. I have seen the sunrise, I've seen the sunset, I've seen the spring, I've seen the summer there, and winters there, and it's I think these two I can zero in as my most favorite places.
It must be really nice to be so familiar with the area and able to paint it all the time.
Yeah, definitely.
Do you often do your paintings plein air, like right at the setting live, or do you take pictures and then take them home to work on in your studio?
I would prefer to do plein air because a picture never does justice to the reality that I'm seeing. I would prefer to do, and but of course I have certain limitations. My health, for example, I can right now I cannot be exposed to the sun for too long, and so certain issues. So then I paint from my pictures, but most of the time I paint plein air if I can find a good day where it's not when the weather's just right and I find a shady spot, things like that. Then yeah, so I think if I look at I'm right now surrounded by my paintings. I'm sitting here in my gallery, and if I look at my paintings, I think it's like 50% of them are plein air and 50% of them are from pictures that I have taken.
Mm-hmm. Well, they all look very beautiful, but yeah, plein air definitely adds like an extra touch.
Exactly.
There's like something special.
I've found a big difference when I paint in plein air and where as opposed to painting from a picture in my studio. Uh, the plein air paintings, it's somehow the magic of where I am somehow ends up in my painting. I feel that that intangible quality comes into the painting more easily than when I paint from my studio.
Yes, definitely. I agree.
Yeah.
So since this is a watercolor and mixed media exhibition, all the pieces we've seen from you have been watercolor, but
Yeah.
do you ever work in any other media? And if not, what is something that like draws you to watercolor specifically?
Yeah. In the beginning, I started off with oil paintings, and then I jumped into pastel. But I tried watercolors about 12 to 13 years ago for the first time, and I never looked back. I knew that this is the media that I'm most comfortable in, and I just took to watercolors. And I rarely paint. I do paint. I don't say I don't use the other media, but these days it's mostly watercolors which I paint. Yeah.
Is there something different about the process with watercolor compared to like oil painting or pastels,
Yeah,
for example?
I feel watercolor, it paints itself, which I didn't find in the other media. Like in oil, you have to really think of every, the beautiful mixes that I find in watercolor, where magic happens on paper, where the colors, work by themselves literally. That that to achieve that in pastels or oil, I have to really work hard, and I feel when I work hard, I lose the spontaneity. I lose the magic, that is waiting to happen. So I feel for my expression, watercolor is the medium. Yeah.
Yeah, watercolor is definitely a much more fluid medium than the
Yeah,
other two. So
it's
it's much more,
fluid, and people say it's difficult, but once you understand, the watercolors, and you understand your colors and how they work. Each color has a nature, it has a property, and there's a certain way it flows, or some of them may granulate, some of them may not, some of them will stain, and so once you get that basic understanding of the colors and how they work, I think it's very easy, you know it's
yeah,
a
it's
very,
definitely,
yeah, fluid
uh,
and easy and spontaneous medium.
yes, it's my favorite medium to work in as well in terms of
Yeah,
painting.
yeah. So
So
yeah.
yeah, so your artworks were submitted to us in different folders, I guess, in separate portfolios. And
Mhm.
when I was looking through them, I noticed a lot of the different groups have stylistic similarities. So are your paintings separated by any like specific themes or categories?
Yeah, because I'm so prolific with my subject, I try to it's very difficult to bring them into a certain category. But I think when I sent you my paintings, I try to organize them in a certain way for you, so that it'll be easy for you all to go through them. And I think I all my plein air paintings, they have a different nature. So I think they are landscapes, so that's one way, I separate the landscapes from anything that moves. I don't say animals, anything that moves, like
Mhm.
birds, animals, you know, uh, that will be one category. And then the blossoms, the flowers, the my garden, or some particular thing that grew in my garden, or the ways that I have set up in my house, that anything to do with flowers will be another floral one. And then I paint people as well, so then the people will be another category. I think that's a very basic way I thought of, you know to organize my work. Yeah.
Do you ever work in cycles where you're exploring one subject matter or one concept repeatedly, or do you kind of take each painting as its own separate um, exploration?
Yeah, I think especially it depends on the season.
Mm,
Like this spring and early summer, I went out and painted a lot of plein air. And so I see that it has a repeated, kind of a repeated theme of, the path, and then the shadows falling, and the blossoms, and the garden path, which is, so that has become a recurring theme. And trees, I love trees, right from my younger age. I used to climb trees when I was a kid. I can relate to trees, so I find that there is a repeated theme of trees. When once I start painting trees, I cannot stop. I continue to paint trees for a while, and when I start painting gardens, I cannot stop. Or when I go to the ocean side, I start painting the birds there. I cannot stop. I start painting, like, it'll be like three paintings, but I end up at least with 3 or 4 paintings of different views of the same subject.
it's really nice to look at all of your pieces and be able to pick up on the little motifs or the patterns that kind of show up in between all of them.
Thank you. Thank you
Yeah.
so much. Yeah.
And for our last question, what do you
Mhm.
hope viewers take away most from your pieces?
I hope they'll be able to catch that, it makes them go, wow, the what I felt when I saw, a particular view, that wow feeling, that, take that feeling, I hope it kinds of leads them into that wow, and, it gives them the same joy. And every day when they get up, suppose they have bought my work, they get up and they look at my work, it cheers them up, no matter what is going on in their life, you know I hope my paintings will bring a little bit of cheer and joy and peace, and say that all is well with the world. See, look at this. This is the world. This is also the world. Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely do get that sense of peace from looking at your painting, so I'm sure the rest of our viewers will as well.
Yeah, I hope so.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Well, that concludes our interview. So, Indira, thank you so much for being here with us today. We can't wait to see your work at our upcoming watercolor and mixed media exhibition, which will be on view from November 5th to January 11th. Thank you again, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.
Thank you, Renee. Thank you for this interview. And I am so looking forward to being in your show. And I really hope that our viewers will enjoy looking at my work. Yes.
I think they will.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you.